Rain tapped against the bedroom window as Daniel sat on the edge of the bed, his hands clenched into fists. His heart pounded in his chest, each beat echoing the shattering of his trust. His wife, Emily, stood before him, tears streaming down her face, but no words could mend what had been broken. Daniel and Emily had been together for nearly 10 years. Their love was the kind of story that friends envied. College sweethearts who built a life together, shared dreams, and supported each other through the struggles of adulthood. But something changed. It started subtly. The late nights at work, the distant looks, the way Emily's phone was suddenly always face down on the table. Daniel ignored it at first, convincing himself that stress was to blame. Then one night, he saw it. A message popped up on her phone. "Can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again?" His stomach dropped. The name was unfamiliar, but the implication was clear. Confronting Emily was the hardest thing Daniel had ever done. She denied it at first, but as he listed every inconsistency, every suspicious moment, her facade cracked. Finally, with tears in her eyes, she admitted it. "It was a mistake," she whispered. "I didn't mean for it to happen." Daniel felt his world tilt. The love of his life had betrayed him. The woman he had trusted above all others had chosen someone else. "Who is he?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. She hesitated before answering. "A coworker. It started. I don't know when it started, but it's over now. I swear." But how could he believe that? For days, Daniel shut himself away, unable to process the pain. Emily begged for forgiveness, but trust was not so easily repaired. Every time she touched him, he flinched. Every time she spoke, all he could hear were the lies. One evening, Emily made a desperate plea. "Let's go away for the weekend. Just the two of us. Please, let me fix this." Against his better judgment, he agreed. They drove to a secluded cabin in the mountains, hoping that distance from their daily lives could help them heal. At first, things were tense. Conversations were stilted, filled with silences that spoke louder than words. But slowly, something shifted. One night, as they sat by the fire, Emily reached for his hand. "I know I can't undo what I did," she said, "but I love you. I always have." Daniel wanted to believe her. He wanted to move past it. And for a brief moment, he thought maybe they could. But fate had other plans. The very next morning, while Emily was in the shower, her phone buzzed. Daniel stared at the screen. "Can't wait to see you next week. Missing you." The breath left his lungs. She had lied again. Emily emerged from the bathroom, smiling as if nothing had happened. The sight of her, fresh from the shower, used to be comforting. Now it was just a reminder of how little he meant to her. "Still over, huh?" he said, holding up her phone. Emily's face paled. "Daniel, it's not what you think." But he had heard enough. He packed his things, walked out the door, and never looked back. Months passed. Emily called, texted, even showed up at his apartment. But Daniel refused to let her in. He had loved her with everything he had, but love wasn't enough without trust. One day she sent a letter. "I lost the best thing I ever had because of a mistake I can never take back. I will regret it for the rest of my life." Daniel read it, then set it aside. Some wounds never heal, and some betrayals can never be forgiven. Daniel rebuilt his life. It took time, but eventually he found happiness again. As for Emily, she lived with her regret, a reminder that some choices have consequences that last forever, and that sometimes sorry is just too late.